Halloween is my favourite time of the year. The spooky vibes, the leaves falling off the trees, and you get to eat a bunch of sweets and no one will judge you for it. What can I say? I'm immature. Now, playing horror games wouldn't really work with the format of my videos, but one game that really fits the Halloween vibe is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. So I decided to play it as a humanitarian. And here are the rules for the run. I'm not allowed to drink blood from humans, but I'm allowed to use blood packs because they were donated to the hospital willingly, and I'm allowed to feed on rats in the sewers. Let's get started. I choose Toreador as my clan, sorted out my skills. I wake up dead after a night of passion, get immediately staked in the chest, Jerome beheads my vampire mother, and I have to skip the tutorial because it forces you to feed on someone, which means I'll miss out on some starting items like the lockpick. I grab some blood packs from my fridge, talk to Mercurio, who sends me to get a bomb from some reprobates. Upon arrival, I find that they have this Baywatch reject guarding their hideout. I dented his skull with my fist, murder all his moronic mates, grab the bomb, then I head to the asylum to speak with Jeanette. And after being unimpressed by her awful Harley Quinn cosplay, I show off my moves on the dance floor. Then Therese sends me out to bust a ghost from a property she likes. So I make my way through this maze of a hotel, and even though I've played through this level a few times, the atmosphere in this place never fails to make my hair stand on end. I exorcise the ghost, have a little snack in the sewers, and upon returning to Therese, I'm met by Jeanette, and she sends me off to commit some vandalism. I say hello to Chunk, devalue some art, give the Blood Guardian a clot, then when I return to the club, Therese starts having a go at me for ruining her gallery. Then she sends me to a diner, and I get ambushed the second I enter. I tear their hearts out, return to Therese to find out she's having a psychotic episode. And in this quest, you can choose to save either Therese or Jeanette. But despite how mental Jeanette is, I don't take kindly to people trying to pop my clogs. So I save Jeanette, speak with Bertram, single-handedly murder a warehouse full of invalids, commit some terrorism. I make it out just in time to watch the building go up in flames, come face to face with a wild furry, return to Bertram, then I start frenzying and my character decides to attack him. So I run to the sewers to eat some tasty rats, get a cab downtown, and on arrival I get given a concussion. Then I get saved by Nines, I say hello to Chunk again, speak to LaCroix, and he puts me to work. First I go and speak to Nines, and we have a lovely conversation about uprisings and anarchy. Then I head to the Elizabeth Dane to check out the Ankaran sarcophagus. When I was told to do this though, LaCroix told me to keep it on the down low and not to attack anyone. I managed to stealth through it, but I encountered a problem when I tried to get the police report from Heinz Beans. He wouldn't give it to me. So I tried sneaking around to get another copy of it, but it turns out I'm terrible at doing this and I got spotted and was forced to kill all the cops on board. So it turned out this tiny little piece of paper caused me more hassle than anything else so far. Then on the way back, I spot Bertram standing in an alley like a nonce. I return to LaCroix to find that he was having a weird Matrix-themed orgy. Then he has a go at me for disobeying him, and sends me off to Grout's mansion. When I arrive, Nines comes out acting like he drank some drug blood, and I make my way through it. This level is bizarre to say the least. The maze-like corridors and visceral visions don't leave much to the imagination. I always felt like it perfectly reflects the unravelling mind of the owner. When I make it to Grout, it turns out he's dead. Then this absolute weapon sets the place on fire to try and kill me. I jumped out a window, returned to LaCroix, then I go to get the sarcophagus from the museum. Once again, I tried sneaking past all the guards, but a camera spotted me, so I killed everyone. I get to the sarcophagus and I'm greeted by the furry and the empty box it was stored in. So I return to the twat to tell him it was stolen. Then I head to Hollywood to speak with Isaac, and he wants me to fetch his wank bank material from a shady alleyway. On the way, I get stopped by Samantha, and she claims to know me. But I don't know her, so I ignore her. I meet up with the tweaker. He gives me a cryptic clue to find the tape, Ginger Swan, then runs into an alley and dies.
Oh Christ!
I go into the sewers for a quick bite to eat, buy myself some functional yet fashionable armour, then I look up Ginger Swan at the Nerd Cafe, and it turns out she's dead and buried in the local cemetery. So I sneak in through a hole in the wall, help Romero with his zombie problem. He teaches me some shooting techniques, I grab the tomb tape, then Isaac forces me to watch it. Dirty bastard. And then he sends me to find the other half of the tape. So I talk to Flynn, but he won't give me any info. So I break into his office and hack his computer. Then I have to jump through various hoops just to get to the right place. I answer a phone call, then I grab a key from a room that makes an abattoir look like a 5-star hotel. I head upstairs in the Nerd Cafe and get ambushed by the creatures in the video. After fighting them off, an employee of Death Mask Productions tells me that they found the tape in a creepy house. Then he gets slaughtered, I pick up the director's cut of the tape, and after munching on some fresh rats, I return to Isaac, we watch it together, I head to the creepy house, fight my way through it, then I come face to face with the reject from the Fly movie. I teach him his place in the food chain, then head into the Nosferatu Warrens to look for Gary. Then after getting minced by a watermill and hunting down more of the abominations, I fly out of a sewage pipe like yesterday's dinner. Then I come across this ugly arsehole. And despite it being a boss, the developers clearly didn't test this fight, because I just climbed up onto this platform and shot at it until it died. Then I make my way around this confusing maze that would give the Paris catacombs a run for their money. And I managed to do something I've never been able to pull off before, saving this random Nosferatu from these two Shrek wannabes.
Thanks a lot.
I jump into the Upside Down, meet up with Gary, and even after all the effort it took to get here, he sends me off on another quest to find his spy in Chinatown. So I have a well-deserved meal in the Hollywood sewers, help Fat Larry out with a legitimate business deal for the cut of the profits, then I buy myself an axe and head to Chinatown. I speak to Ming, who immediately earns my respect by being the first person so far to offer me a brew. She tells me where to find some information on Gary's spy, so I head inside the Red Dragon to speak with Wong. But there's no rest for the wicked, because he won't help me until I get his daughter back, which I don't mind doing because I get to reenact The Shining with my new axe. I find Kiki, who turns out to be a massive bitch.
Oh, I'm so impressed. What? Like you want me to thank you or something? In your dreams, asshole.
So now I have the added task of resisting the urge to cut her head off. Once that's done, I head off to the imports warehouse to speak with Zhao. He gives me the password to Johnny's club, and in return, I help him fight off members of the Tong. I sneak through the back entrance to the club, but Johnny appears to be having a stroke because he won't speak to me at all. I even tried getting his attention by throwing a table at him, to no avail. So I decided to put him out of his misery. Then this weirdo who's been reading way too many Marvel comics invites me to his lab. I grab a sweet katana from one of the guards. Then when I arrive, I quickly find out that this guy most likely got kicked out of art school. And performs other experiments on me to figure out how to kill a vampire. But the idiot didn't take away my weapons. So I blow his lab up, cut him to pieces, rescue Barbarous, and we hack the lab's servers to delete their internet history. Then I get a phone call from Gary, who tells me that the sarcophagus is in the hands of the vampire mafia. So I snack on some rats to prepare myself for the fight ahead. Stealth kill my way into the mafia mansion, then coat the walls in their blood, including Bruno Giovanni. I chop up some zombies, then come face to face with the Chang brothers. And this boss has one weakness: corridors. Seriously though, this is such a cheese method that I actually felt bad for using it. After killing them, I grab the sarcophagus, LaCroix fails to open it, and tasks me and the furry to do it for him. So Muggins here has to go to a vampire hunter lair to rescue some coffin dodger that knows how to do it. I grab one of my 5 a day, and head straight into the Hornets Nest. Admittedly, this level was the hardest challenge I've had to deal with in the run. Not being able to feed on these guys really amped up the difficulty, so my only option was to try and stealth kill them. But these vampire hunters are very perceptive to my presence, so using stealth around them is quite challenging. And after being riddled with more holes than a plot of signs, I eventually make it down to the lower caverns. Then after a lengthy shootout, I come across a dickhead that tried to kill me earlier, Bach. He killed me quite a few times, but eventually I figured out his pattern and managed to take him out by hiding in between his shots and slashing him to bits when he reloads. Once he's dealt with, I speak to the old codger, who tells me that the sarcophagus can only be opened with a key. I agree to save the senile old fool, but as we leave, Bach tries to blow us up because he's a sore loser. We escape on a boat, and I arrive at LaCroix's tower to find it littered with corpses. And as I expected, he's not bothered by this. I tell him about the key, then he sends me off to get rid of the Sabbat vampires once and for all. So I top up on some blood, buy myself some armor, then head inside the Hallowbrook Hotel. I get ambushed again, then fight my way to the vampire equivalent of a crack den, and like most people who enter these hovels, my life was forfeit. Jokes aside, I did die quite a few times in this level, but I'm not one to shy away from perseverance, so after some trial and error, I managed to get to the end and come across Jeff Goldblum again. His boss fight isn't too hard, you just have to grab a torch and smack him repeatedly when he jumps out of the blood pools. I burn him to ash, then when I leave the hotel, I'm met by Ming. She tells me that the Kuei Jin have the key and not to trust the prince, and shows me that it wasn't Nines I saw the night Grout was murdered, it was her. Now, my original plan for this run was for me to side with the Kuei Jin at the end, but my character decided to ruin this by frenzying right after talking to her, which I believe locked me out to the ending. So now I needed a new plan of action. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I eat some rats to prevent any further frenzying, and tell LaCroix what I learned. He says he's going to start a war with the Kuei Jin and tells me to recruit Nines and his annex. On the way there, the walking fursona starts ranting and raving at me. He tells me not to open the sarcophagus, as he thinks something bad will happen. I pay him no mind, and when I arrive at the last round, I'm met by some angry annex, who tell me that Nines is hiding out in Griffith Park. So after a relaxing tram ride that is a welcome break from the chaos, I speak to him, but whilst trying to warn me about the upcoming war, the park gets set ablaze and Nines gets launched off the mountain by a werewolf. Then I come face to face with one whilst waiting for the tram to return. And one thing I found interesting with the lore of this game is how they handle werewolves. Most forms of media portray vampires as being more, if not equally, as powerful as the werewolves. But in Vampire the Masquerade, the vampires are afraid of them, and can easily be killed by them. So with that being the case, I decided to kill the big hairy bastard. The problem with doing this is that old Wolfie here makes the flash seem slow. He did kill me, but surprisingly only just the once. I turned the power onto the observatory and crushed the dirty dog with the hatch. I head back down the mountain and I'm met by John DiMaggio. We head to my house, then he tells me the prince set the park on fire to try and kill me and Nines. And because I survived this, he's put a blood hunt on me. So now I have to get to a taxi that's waiting to take me to my final destination. Once I do this, I have a lengthy conversation with the driver, which serves as the final choice of the game. And since I'm locked out of the Quay Gin ending, I'm going to side with the Annex, because fuck LaCroix. When I arrive to speak with them, it turns out that Nines killed the werewolf. Then he sends me off on a one-man crusade to destroy both the Camarilla and the Quay Gin. And the first stop is to take out Ming. Getting to her wasn't really eventful aside from a few puzzles and many murders, but when I actually got to her, things escalated quickly. This boss fight is the reason I wanted to side with her for the run. Every time I have fought her in previous playthroughs, she has given me a ton of trouble. But this time, I actually managed to figure out a way to kill the fugly bitch while taking as little damage as possible. You just stay behind her and stab her in the arse and try to deal with the clones before they grow to full size. It was quite a lengthy fight because I did such little damage, but eventually I turn her into calamari and head off to take down the prince. I surprisingly managed to stealth my way past the first part, but that all changes when I get to the construction area. These damn guards and their automatic weapons are such a pain in the arse. Their guns stagger you, so once you start getting shot at, you're pretty much dead. I had to make sure I took them on in a one-to-one fight and to kill them very quickly. LaCroix decides to become the ghost of Christmas past, and after taking out this wretched wraith, I carve a path through some moronic loyalist vampires, then I have to fight the sheriff. And like the other bosses in the game, there's a technique to fighting him. Well, I say technique, but what I really mean is a dirty cheese strat that makes him seem like a pushover. If you smack him before he can, he just staggers and takes it like a bitch, till he goes apeshit, turns into a giant bat, and slams me through a wall. The bat phase isn't too hard either. Just grab his sword, activate the searchlights, and smack him when he falls to the floor. Then when there's no more searchlights, I just shot him to death. After this, I come face to face with LaCroix, and he tries giving me a lecture. But I say fuck that noise and slit his throat with a letter opener. And since he wants to open the sarcophagus so badly, I give him the key. He proves that that joke I made about him being Jerome was actually true. Gets blown into smithereens. And with that, I beat Vampire the Masquerade as a humanitarian. This was a great choice for the first Halloween video for my channel. It was a great mix of creepy atmosphere and action. And I'm so glad you voted for it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe? If you want to see me do a specific run, let me know in the comments. Have a happy Halloween, and I'll see you next time.